Hey, how's it going, fisherman? Looks like you're the first one in here. I was streaming earlier and kind of cleaning up this diagram here, in my home lab. And then I was like, well, the wife is at Bunko tonight. She plays Bunko with some. She was so happy to get invited to that Bunko group. Like, I don't know, like, why people love that game so much, but she sure does love it. Anyways, I updated kind of the home lab login diagram, and what I kind of need to do is add the frames. So like the frame tool here, we can add a frame to this, and then we can add another frame up here to this. And then what'll happen is if I start the presentation, then that's what the presentation kind of looks like in our environment. And it can kind of jump around, and maybe I'll put the whole thing in a frame when I get more added to it. But what I'm going to keep working on, Agalord over on the YouTube side, how's it going? We are just messing around right now. Let me get this out of the way. And what I thought to do was, since I've rebuilt the home lab, a couple weeks ago when we were sitting around messing around, I updated all the werewolf and kind of crashed. It's a lot to go into, but it would be a production outage in a real company. But I also wouldn't have done that off the cuff in a real company, so I guess it is what it is. But what I still need to do, though, is go into the different werewolf systems, the Rocky and Hammer systems that I have, and get the lab environment set back up so that people that do log in out of our Discord, right? We got Discord, and Discord has how you guys can get into these different component pieces. Here's the ProLUG Lab, where we were just talking about the ProLUG Lab environment, and you could see these things that we were drawing, and then also you can see how to get into the lab environment. All you have to do is drop a public key in here, and then you'll be able to connect into those systems. I'm going to automate it in the future, but for right now, you just drop it in, and I'll go pull it and put it where it needs to go. It's fine. It's not a really big deal. All right. But anyways, let's go through this. We're going to kind of speed run the course a little bit. For people that want to do the course for real, here's all the course. It is also, again, in the Discord. That's where we normally run the Linux Systems Administration course out of. You guys should have access to that. Oh, I need to check something while we're sitting here. Yeah, they're all back up. Okay. I think I fixed the problem. Actually, yeah, I'm like 90% sure I fixed the problem. Okay. So let's look at what's going on in the course. And for people that don't know, it's just systems administration, getting you guys into doing this stuff professionally. And what I need to do is go through the different labs that I have and just make sure that I have the right component pieces in there. So to do that, we're going to go to the lab. We can jump to lab 1. And we just got to connect to one of these Rocky boxes. So I am going to let's use this one, and let's rename this to Rocky Labs. Let's go to Rocky 5. So now we're in one of the Rocky boxes. I already see something I want to fix in the Rocky Lab. Yeah, let's go fix this real quick, and then we'll use the Rocky Lab as our kind of base of operations. So let's Control Shift R to exec, and we're going to exec into the Rocky 9 bin bash, and we're going to VI the etcmotd. And the message of the day for this box is going to be, well, you know what, the easiest way to find it is probably just go over here and say ASCII art generator. And the first one that comes up is the one that we like. And we're going to type in dev, right? Or actually, sorry, Rocky. Rocky's fine. And then I believe the one, we could test all of them and just see all of them, but I think I already know the one that I actually like is Ogre. Let's just go grab. I thought it was called Ogre. What's Nipples? That's weird. I thought the one I liked was called Ogre, but now I guess I don't know what its name is. Oh, wait. I thought I saw it. There it is. Yeah, I kind of like that Ogre one. And I'm used to using Dev. That's not what I expect. Let's grab that whole thing, Control C, right click. It's not what I'm used to. So let's go test all and let's just see which ones there are in case I kind of think that's the one I was using was blocks. Let's just select and copy the whole thing. But is there another one that kind of looked more like what we wanted here? Star Wars doesn't look bad. But what other one might we want? Hold on. Yeah, let's stick with that one we had. That one's not terrible either. Ivrit or Ivrit. Kind of like Ifrit. That's fine. I think we got a good one. Alright. So this one, or this one. This is the one we had. I like that one. Escape, :WQ. True. Exit. We're just going to rebuild that into that Rocky 9 Linux. And let's also get one of these of Hammer. What block? Oh no, that's not the one I liked. That's small again. Blocks, that's what it is. I don't know, I think that one looks kind of good. Although that one may be a bit much on certain people's. That may be a bit too much on some terminals for width. That's a bit more width than most people like. So let's go with Doom. I like this one, Doom. Just select and copy all that. And let's go and we've already done the image, so let's SSH to Rocky 5 and reboot. Ping Rocky 5 for a minute. We can even watch him boot if we want to. Where's he at? Over here, Rocky 5. I've greatly shortened the environment down, so there's not nearly as many servers because we don't have nearly as many people actually participating in the course. So I'm not going to use a lot of capacity if we don't have a lot of people doing the course. If anybody needs this, it's just patterjk.com. He's got a pretty good little thing. Two-stage bracket's going to start. Going to boot a little init ramfs, go to two-stage, boot its Dracut image, and start. That'll be the normal boot up of the box. We did all that just to get the one thing that we need, which is the cool little Etsy message of the day. That's all we actually cared about. We weren't doing anything too special. So, let this box come up. and then we'll go. There he is. There we go. All right. Got the image. Okay. See his memory. By default, his TempFS is only going to use half of the memory available in the box by default. However, we can modify that behavior with command line arguments. So I could make these boxes use up to all 8 gigs as disk space. However, you do run the risk with that of the out of memory killer OOM. We do run the risk of that running more amok, but it's just another thing to think about. Okay, so I'm over here and I'm going to make their lab essentials CD to lab essentials. LS, nothing in there. Touch test file 1. LS, touch test file 2.10, and LS will show me all those files. Okay, so all the files that I think are in there are in there. I can see them all like that. They are in Linux alphabetical order. I could touch all these other files. All that stuff's fine. So let's go look at the lab. Let's see if there's anything in the lab that's not going to work. So I make you do some stuff with fruits. That's all going to work. You can see the permissions. You can touch the permissions. You can look at all that. Let's see if sudo is there. So sudo is not in the lab. So I need to get a notepad out, as I often do. And this is my notepad I was using with my college students a little while ago. Let's come over here and just real quick add sudo to the image. Right? That's going to be the something I do here in a minute. Let's put this here in my notes. And then we'll move that out of the way. And then it says to use Vim Tutor. Vim Tutor's not there. Also Yum. We don't really need, we can use DMF more, but that's fine. All these other things should be good. All that should work. PS-AUX for people that want to see that. Head if you only want to see the top low part of it. Sure. Redirections, and then you cut through the files and do stuff. Good. Throw files into date. Date should work. Yep, there's nothing like that that's busted. Time is there. Yep. VI, make some test script, add some values, change mod. Okay, so nothing there should be busted. And then you can send some information into your test script and see the values. Good. So that's all there. How we modify permissions is all there. Good. Okay. So let's exit out of this. Let's go exec back into that environment and DNF install sudo. Make sure sudo's on the boxes. Okay. Okay. Rebuild the image. We'll push that image back to that box here in a little bit. Well, actually, it's not even technically a push. It's just when the box goes down and comes back up, it's going to pull the new version of the image. And then we'll check for DNF. So that was lab 1. Lab 1 is done. I have validated that it works for what we're doing. Now let's go to lab 2. Here's Rocky 5 again with his correct system. And we're going to do some, we would be doing some basic little stuff over here. I always have you guys have like little warm-ups, like CD to a tilde to see what that does. How's it going, Zoltra Lord? Thanks for the follow. It's a name I've seen before, so hopefully you're not following again because you had left. That would suck. But hopefully you are hanging out and enjoying it and getting some out of this. This lab, I remember this lab. This is one that I just make you go through stuff. So we do like a host name, and we just touch everything about the system, right? This is just looking around the system, taking a walk. We're on Rocky 9.6 Blue Onyx, and we've been all these kind of things and just kind of moving through. You know, uname shows us that we're on a Linux box. Uname-A shows us too much information. Uname-R and Uname-M shows us less information, but still good information. Then we look at the RAM, the processor, the disks, right? There's some interesting things about my system here in that I have all TempFS disks, but if you do an LSBLK, I have disks that are not being used in this system yet. And I actually do want to carve those up and make persistent disks for these, but we'll do that another time. You can do a mount. Man, that's funny. That is my old... I'm very surprised that this got past all of my checks. This is my old home. This is a username that I was given at an organization that I was with many years ago. That's a non-prod version of my name, my username. There's a designator there that tells me it's non-prod. But it's funny that that got through because I thought I had cleaned it up pretty good. So you can go look for those things and see some errors. Go look through all this. I'm just looking for, guys, as I'm going through this lab, I'm kind of speed running our labs from something that is available for anybody. What I'm doing is making sure that this box, these servers that I have, can still handle it. So let's go with, okay. I don't see anything here. Yeah, there's no special software here. So I'm going to call lab 2 good. Now, hopefully I don't choke on my red vines. Let's go look at lab 3. Warm-ups at the top. Those are good. Hey, Runamucker, how's it going? Dog food, true story. I was one of the first few commands I memorized and had to use the old pet naming memory method. Nice. Yeah, DF is fine. I hate DF without H. Like, I always use the DF-H. As Ultra Lord said, did I hear about Microsoft and GitHub? I don't know what's going on with that. I haven't heard anything about it. Is there some tasty gossip out there? I don't know what the tasty gossip is, if there is any. All right, warm up looks fine. Let's do XVDA looks fine. I can print the sectors of the disks, good. I can Q to quit, and I can H for help, or M for help, and see all of the things. Q, you know, because I'm not going to change anything now. Cool. I can do block ID and make dir FSS. So let's go MKDIR and hit tab a few times. Oh, not make dir, make FS. What am I thinking? And we're just going to make sure that we have the ability to make FS ext4, so it's good. I'm just looking for things that require packages right now, in case anybody's wondering. Let's see if I do a PVS. So we need to install LVM. So we need to add LVM to the image. So let's exit out of here. Exec into the image. DNF install LVM. Let's see what packages LVM wants to put on. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Let's do another thing real quick. We'll say what provides PVS. It should be LVM2 now. Okay, yeah. So install LVM2, and that'll install the tools that we need. Yes. Yeah, CEO of GitHub resigning. That's interesting. I said CEO of GitHub. Not see old GitHub. All right. Rebuild the image. Reboot Rocky 5. Poor Rocky 5. He's getting all the business done to him. After we're done with him, we'll go reboot the other nodes individually so that they come up with the clean image. And then we'll test everything to make sure that they're good. Well, we'll only really need to test the one. What's everybody else working on? Anybody doing anything else fun? I'm just working in the lab, updating stuff, making sure things look like I expect them to. Got the lab all set back up, so now I need to get it set up for all the individual labs that people might use. Runamucker, you're cleaning up after playbooks, okay? There was a good chat in the Discord earlier, Runamucker, around one of the guys asked about patching methodologies, and me and Pico basically, we're kind of jaded. We do most of our stuff with Ansible, but there's some good talks in there. Quartz One said you're watching GCP videos and it's not so fun. That's unfortunate. Yeah, there was a good talk on, I want to say they asked it under, where was it at? It might have been under DevOps. Yeah, it's under DevOps. And we just kind of started, so it was earlier today on DevOps. How do we do server patching? What's the best way to automate it? And an Ansible script, snapshot, runs, like what do you do? And this was kind of my high level. Pre-check the environment, make sure all the servers you think are there are up. Make sure servers can be patched. Make sure that like RPM DB is working and that kind of stuff. Those are easy fixes that'll save you a lot of trouble. Sort servers into their server groups if you have special activities for them. And that can be done on the fly via special variables and host variables and all these things that I show you guys how to do in labs. Backup, snapshots, and protect. I know that's not spelled right, but I think it's hilarious. Turn off services, move them out of load balancers, turn off apps, patch, reboot, validate, patching, turn on the apps, validate the apps, and then put them back behind the load balancers, right? So, yeah, no, I think there was some good talk, and this is stuff that me and these guys have done, so there was a lot of good talking around it. So nothing in PVS, VGS, or LVS. And then we would start to add these disks to the system, and we could just walk through, if I did an LSBLK, and I saw that A, B, and C were there, I could go do, in this case, B, C, and D. B, C, and E would need to be what I'd use, and I would add them to this. It's actually funny that the 4 disks up here, B, C, and D, isn't even the ones that were successfully added down here. So that's actually a funny little Easter egg to find. And then we could verify that they're there. Okay, so I assure myself, I know that these will work, but this is how you would carve up a disk. That's the correct way to do it. Add it to XEFS tab, mount it, and then do the funny things you need to do. Do we have Perl on here? Let's go this way. Pearl not found. Add Pearl. Pearl's one of my favorites. Surprised Pearl's not in Rocky 9.6. Not as a base image thing anyways. Yeah, Runamucker. It's a lot of work, man. Patching a lot of systems can be a full-time job, but it's made easier with automation tools for sure. I often tell people when we deal with patching, when we deal with any automation, we do what I call painting with a wide brush. if I can, in the first pass of a automation, hit 85% of the things and get them back working, well, that's 85% less shit that we got to go manually do that we were probably going to have to manually do anyways. So let's get that 85% out of the way and then go. And then we can work to clean up. Oh man, look at all that shit that we need for Pearl. That's bloating the image. 270 packages. Wild. But we're going to do it because it's fun and we like it. Yeah, I paint with a wide brush. And then I edge in and clean up the edge cases as we go. But we don't work for edge cases. We work for like keeping the company moving forward, you know? So yeah, I do like kind of think, because I used to, when I was younger, I worked roofing and painting. Painting when my uncle couldn't keep me in enough work because he had a smaller roofing business. And then he would like loan me out to his guys that did painting, and I learned how to tape off and paint and stuff like that when I was in high school. So, you know, yeah, painting with a wide brush is just the idea that we hit as much as we can with the fast tool, and then we go to the slow tool after, right? Which is the manual and the one-offs and the things that you just can't, I mean, it's an unknown, right? There's no way to be able to handle everything with it. Add Pearl to the image. Done. And it needed zip and unzip. That's awesome. That's awesome. And it needed Rust SRPM macros. Who even knows what that is? Throw it in there. Throw it all in there. Qt5, sure. Why not? Python, we needed Python to get Pearl in there? Good, sure. Look at all that crap it added. Bloating up our image. That's fine. That's fine. Add Pearl. Get out of here. All right. I might need to add MDADM too. No, MDADM's there. Ping Rocky 5 till it comes back up. Anybody else got anything good going on? My wife's got bunko tonight, so she's doing bunko. So she was doing bunko last night too, but with a different group. She's got 2 bunko groups because I guess that's some kind of thing that as women get older, they enjoy bunko, I guess. She told me she was super excited when she got in the first bunko group, and I thought that was really funny. She didn't think it was as funny as I did, but it was funny nonetheless. All right. Oh, let me go check something on our music. Music's good. It's gonna rotate and shuffle and all that crap. The song right here is in a game called Mechabellum. If you guys have ever played Mechabellum, it's a pretty fun little game. Yeah, bunko is like a fast-paced game, and then they jump tables, and they always have at least 4 tables going. Zorgal, you should be able to work in the admin environment if you need, or in the Rocky environment. I'm only messing with 5 for right now, so the environment should stay. Yeah, 1, 2. Well, 1's being used. 2, 3, and 4 are active right now. So yeah, you should be good. There we go. All right, Pearl's there. Pearl's there. Good. Zorgal, you're working on the final project. Good. Good. Yeah, I kind of forgot the admin course was still running. When's that running to? The 17th or so? Yeah, I think I just been super busy, so I haven't even been thinking about it so much. But yeah, the group is there, and for you guys that don't know, we run the Linux admin and the Linux security courses. They are free courses that are designed to get you into doing Linux and make you feel like you can do this stuff professionally, right? Agalord said, and that was actually probably a working implementation, so trying to get back to that. But I thought all the VLAN stuff down thinking I caused my outage. Interesting. Aguilord, were you the one? I don't know who asked yesterday, but somebody had asked about VLAN implementation, and then I asked for it up in the Discord, and then I did give an up, like what I thought. Let me see. Okay. That was you. So I did give what I kind of thought I would do, depending on the device. So hopefully I give you some solid advice there. All right, let's keep going through this lab. I want to see if I have all the things I need. So pre-lab warm-up, make dir, unit 4? Aren't we in unit? Okay, I guess we are in unit 4. Grep systat. Let's make sure systat is on here. Nope. So install systat. Yeah. We need to install systat. Let's see if there's any other ones so I can do them all in one fell swoop. Is Vim there? Vim's not there. Let's get Vim on there. That's what I get for blowing away the lab. Doing it live. IOStat will be with systat. IOStat will be with systat. Last more, those are all there. SAR will be there. SAR is there. SA log will be there provided that SAR is there. Let's type SAR in just so we have it. SAR will be I think it's with IOStat. Could be wrong though. Yeah, Systat has it, okay. Let's see if cron's on here. Cron's not there. Oh, how's it going, Sending? We are cleaning up my lab. I've been rebuilding the lab environment, and I'm just taking notes and building things back into the image. The things that I have not built yet back into the image are down here. And search all cron. Let's see what gives us cron. Crony. God, I always forget that. All right. All right. Let's get to the end of this lab. And there's Cronny. Yep, cron. And okay, that's all the things we need for that lab. Let's go look at the fifth lab. Well, let's install these and let these go. So we can't do it in the box because the box is what we call it, a stateless node, right? We got to go bake it into the container image here. So here's the container image, DNF install -y systat vim and cronny. We're going to install all that to the image. Well, Zorgo, that only changed this last weekend, so don't feel bad about that. I did just change that over. We streamlined it all. For people that are in the Discord, it's all here down under our ProLUG Lab environment. I did just update all of like what it looks like. Admins and security come in through ProLUG now at prolug.asuscom.com. You drop in, you no longer go through P01 Jumpo 1. That was the saddest CentOS 7 server that couldn't be updated anymore ever. You guys now come in like I would if I was external. I drew this originally when I was like talking about being like, I can be anywhere in the world and get into my servers, right? And I was talking about specifically being down in Mexico on a Windows box. It doesn't matter how I get into my systems. Jumping in there, and then we can go right to Werewolf, or most of you guys are jumping in as one of these jailed users, and the jailed users get sent into over here to Rocky, or you come down here to the Hammer servers if you're doing the security stuff. I should probably color code that too, but I'm colorblind. Look, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's a different color than that, but I'm colorblind, so I might be wrong, right? Like, I'm terrible with this stuff, but that's the way that the lab works now. This is what the jailing process looks like. You coming off the internet, you go into ProLUG jail, right? Horny jail, bonk, go right to jail. var ProLUG ch root. You only have these commands. You can only use this script as your shell, and it kicks you into one of the admin or security labs, and then whatever our lab security capacity, whatever our lab capacity is actually found out in real time. Like, see how this says Rocky 2, 3, 4, and 5? Because 5 is back up now, so it can be used. Hammer 1 is no longer there. Only 2, 3, 4, 5 are there because this is being updated in real time. I'm actually watching it right now because I had a problem earlier with the script. And if you were like, well, where's the script at? Well, it's an Ansible playbook, so it's down in here, right? And if you guys wanted to see it, I can show you. There's a CD down there. And then at the end of this, it's actually in Linux admins, and then it's roles, and then it's ProLUG Bastion deploy, and then it's tasks. And then if we more main in here, this is the check. It just goes and checks if there's any users on the system, and then it deploys into var ProLUG chroot bin bastion.sh, meaning it updates this in real time from this template, whatever the template's called. Yeah, and then the template just reads like this, and it puts in whatever hosts have only one user logged in, which is this user, meaning no other users are logged in. That's what the logic of this is. And if you don't get any, I say there's no capacity for admin labs found, go try back later. So that's what happens if you if you come over here and you try to SSH in, then when you SSH in, oh, I got the password, hold on. Password's over here somewhere. Hold on. Shit, where do I have that? Passwords for lab, test, copy. I dropped that in right here, and now I'm in the environment, and I can go to the admin course, the security engineering course, or I can exit. Now, if I sit here for 10 seconds, I'm about to get booted, right? I'm just going to sit here. I got my hands up. Yep, done, got booted. But if I go here and I do this right, I'll go into one, and I won't get in any of those other ones. That's kind of funny. Now I got in Rocky 2. I might need to go clean those known hosts up a little bit. But suffice it to say I'm in one, and I see that I had connected in there. Well, that's strange. 114. That's interesting behavior. Oh, the heck is this? What the hell's going on here? 114? What the hell's he doing? The hell? How does he have this other? Is he getting a DHCP and a? Oh gosh! Oh, my freaking computers are revolting against me, guys. What the hell is he doing with this other IP address? This is his IP in the network. This is in my personal DHCP range. This fucking computer is doing whatever the hell he wants. Oh my gosh! All right. I'll have to clean that up. That's funny. Man, that's funny. Okay. Fucking hey. All right. This is clean. True. We're gonna type in true right here. Yeah, Zorgo, that machine is doing whatever the hell he wants, apparently. I actually think that's why he behaves like this sometimes. Like I'm having a hard time connecting to him all the time. And having the staff, because there's two paths to get to him. So I need to strip that other one off. That's a DHCP address that he's grabbing. Whereas any of you guys that know my professional work, I deal in static addresses for most high performance compute stuff because nodes don't change. Nodes are like war, right? Anybody remember the very first line of the game Fallout, the first Fallout game? I'm pretty sure they used it in other ones too, but it was war. War never changes. Right. That is built. SH Rocky 5 reboot. Ping Rocky 5. Whoops. Ping Rocky 5. All right, where's that defined? That's the question. That is... Wait. Oh, no, he's the other box. Hold on. Yeah, he's over here. Yeah, so... Oh, yeah, it's not there anymore. NMCLI con show ENX0. And he is, so watch here, he is coming up. He is, it's going to say that he's doing DHCP. Yeah, so look, he's got an IPv4 address set. That's cool. But his IPv4 method needs to be changed to static. Because then he's like, oh, I'll go ahead and take this other freaking address too. Because you said auto, which means that I can go ahead and do DHCP. But, fucking jerk. So he's doing DHCP. So I need to set this auto right here, his IPv4 method, to static. That's what's happening. I don't know how to do that right off. I don't do NMCLI enough. So NMCLI remove auto IPv4.method. We'll find that. Right? But this thing will probably tell me right here. Yeah, it's going to be a modify command. And then it's going to be... We should be able to do static. Yeah. So, should be something like NM CLI connection. And I do con normally. Modify or just mod. EN... What was it? ENX. I don't like that name. I can change the name to con modify ENX0. That's such a terrible looking name. IPv4.method is static, right? And then I should be able to show. And sorry, I should be able to see. What? Oh, well, it would help if I spelled it right. I just want to see, yeah, manual. So it says manual now, so it's no longer auto. And then I'm going to do two things, but you guys got to remember, I'm jumped into this box over the network. So nmcli con down, and then I have to send the command nmcli con up. Otherwise, I'm going to the console, right? Down enx0. ENX0. If you do that and you don't do them together, then you're not going to get a terminal back, right? You got to go to the connection, base connection of the show. And I should not see that other address anymore, and I don't. And IP-BR8EDR, that's no longer there either because that was just a hot mess. Why are you doing DHCP and static? Two addresses are not better than one in the world of stability. Rocky 5's back up. That's SSH to Rocky 5. He's back up. He's got dev there. I know I'm doing a lot of stuff, guys, but that's why I have my notepad. Even though I've forgotten long ago where I was at, but my notepad knows. Hold on, my notepad knows right here on new 21. That's actually funny that that's new 21 because we're up in like new thousands over here. RPM-QA, grep-I sudo. We got sudo. We got LVM, which is LVM2, we found out. Perl was not there. He wanted 270 fucking packages to install. And then systat. Systat should be there now. Vim, so people can play with Vim, because that's a good tool to understand. And cronny. I used to tell people all the time, like, you don't need to understand VI, you don't need to use VI, but you're going to get kind of sniggers and they call it, the word is snigger, which is to like laugh at somebody behind their back. You're going to get those from other engineers if you don't know VI. That's all there is to it. Yeah, yeah, bonded interface. That was an interface bond splitting itself. It wasn't even. It was the opposite of bonding. It was adding instability that didn't need to be there because now there's two paths to it out and two paths to it back in, which is just going to cause problems. Different networks, that wouldn't have mattered, but on the same network, it absolutely was going to cause me problems. Especially when ARP requests get you the same server but with different interfaces. It's just going to be weird. Okay. The route, by the way, the question earlier was how is the route defined? The route is fine because we were always going to be sent out ENXO. However, actually brings up an interesting point. Now my network's unreachable to go out. So I actually have to establish a default, so he doesn't have a default route out anymore. Actually, speaking of that, that might have broke people's connections, and I apologize. But let's set a default route for him real quick. So we removed that, which is funny. And then we need to give him his IPv4 route of anything. So here we go. nm CLI con modify ENXO. Sorry about if I killed you out of there, by the way, Zorgal. You'll be back in a second. IPv4.routes and routes, if I could spell. And we need any, this is the default for any in IPv4, is going to go to the gateway IP, which for me is 192.168.11.1. Whoops. And then if that happens, then I can now go add the con down and con up. And now when I do my IPR, oh, that's weird. That's not. Let's go check, because that should have been. Oh, you could just do default gateway that way? Oh, there you go. Well, that was my bad then. I shouldn't trust the AI. IPv4 default gateway. And I can just do the gateway address, which is that. Huh. That should be. Let's try this just for fun. And then one two 168.11.1. Why is that an invalid? I spelled gateway wrong? No. Invalid gateway address. I'm not used to using NMCLI at all. Oops. Yeah, that's how we would normally set it right there. Which I would have thought would have been there. Hmm. Ah, quit. I hate when things don't accept exit as quit. Why is that not? Down and up. IPv4 gateway should be able to set gateway address 92.168.11. Huh. See what other Red Hat documentation says. Con show, con activate, we got all that. We don't want to do any of that. Don't want to bond it. I do kind of want to change its name though, but that's fine. Bond, no. Nope. Doesn't have default. That doesn't help. Now this says to use specific static default route. Oh, that's if you want to remove it. But if you wanted to add it. Hold on. There it is. That's my fault. So I didn't read. That's to delete it. So the AI did get me there. I just didn't read what it told me. So the AI was telling me the reverse, and I wanted to take the minus sign off. So all right, that's fine. Zorgal, you should be able to get back in. I apologize for that. I'm testing stuff live, which is not the way you're supposed to do any of this. But adding crony, all that stuff's back in the image. Everything's good. Boxes have everything, so that's good. So now we're going to start rolling through the boxes. So what's the easiest way to do that? Well, probably if we history, maybe Control-Shift-R for Ansible, we could see with Ansible what's going on with maybe Rocky. We go hit them all real quick. And maybe I want to say reboot, but I don't want to kick everybody off. So maybe I just do limit to maybe Rocky 3 and Rocky 4. So we're going to let those two get rebooted real quick. Right? So we'll let those go real quick. And then we'll uptime. Maybe we'll I think I could probably do that more efficiently, but that's fine. And then let's just say we're going to give them 5 minutes to reboot while we kind of hang out and talk or do whatever else we want. And also, Sending Grounds, you still around? I don't know if you're around, but I heard from Robodom that only 2 people didn't get like a survey filled out. We need to figure out a better way to do that, because I really wanted you and King Buns to get some kind of... I really wanted you guys to get feedback from people, you know. Also, it says I got a slow connection, so hopefully my stuff starts working. It says I got a slow connection, so it wasn't working. There's my screen blast for you guys. All right. Once we roll through that, then we'll get, once those are back up, then we're going to make sure that our system over here sees them. Bang watch. So we'll see, in this case, 4 and 5, well, people would go to 2 and 3 first, but 3 and 4 just got rebooted, so the next person will go to 2. 1 is probably being taken by Zorgel again. And then we've got 2, 3, and 4 and 5 open for Hammer. And what should happen is 3 and 4 should go away from here soon because they're down. This thing should find that they're down and remove them. And then what will happen is they'll come back up, but they'll have the right image now for the pieces that we already built in. And then I can keep going forward and building out the image a little more. But I'm kind of testing it as I go a little bit in that as I add things to it. Let's look if there's anything here that I need to add. This one has just user stuff, user IDs. No, this is all, it's all very basic stuff. Nothing in here needs to be modified, I don't think. Which one was that? Was that Unit 5? Yeah, it was Unit 5 lab. Let's go look at Unit 6. Ah, firewall stuff. Firewalls should all be there. We should see this one take away 3 and 4 soon because they're down. Those nodes are hard down. Booting right now, so 3 and 4 should go away. Oh, I mean, if my logic was right, which we can hope. Firewall D's there. They can start it, they can enable it, they can check the zones, do all that. That should be good. We can test that real quick while we're sitting here. Fuck it, we'll let that run. Let it run. We're doing it live. Check the interfaces. Make sure everything's good. Yeah, I'm okay with calling 6 good as well. This lab should have everything they need for firewalls. It's good. Okay. Go to lab 7 real quick. Just kind of blasting through it all. Lab 7. Package management and patching. You can always install stuff live on the box, but it'll go away when we reboot it. Oh, why is that thing not? Those should definitely be gone by now. Those are definitely... Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Can my system not get... Oh, hold on. Can he not get into... Oh, he can get over there. Okay. Yeah, he can get in there. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, those two should go away. They can install BC if they need for the lab. They can look at System D and all this stuff. This is a really good, I think this is a really good run through of like how RPM works, like all the information that's stored in the RPM database. There's a lot of info for you guys there. A lot of info. A lot of stuff to do inside the Linux world there. Setting up your own repos, that's important. Looking at what repos are there, changing them around if you want to turn them off. Installing MariaDB and installing DNF. Yeah, okay. Or DNF's already there, but installing different things with it and looking at dependencies and stuff. What provides systemd, ls, Python. See where your package managers actually know to pull things. That's all important. Okay, I'd call 7 good. Let's go to 8. Again, why is that not going away? Alright, they're back up. They've been up 3 minutes. Well, that's probably why. Maybe they were already being seen. We'll get rid of Rocky 2, because I think Zorgel's still in 1. So we'll get rid of 2. let 2 go. 2 should now disappear from here. I mean, he should have before anyways, but let's go look over here. Pass WD, look for GCC, and if not, install GCC. And then do some write a little C program, your first C program if you've never made one. Super simple. And then compile it, and then run it, and then S-trace it as you run it to see what calls it's doing. You can also L-trace it if you wanted to. See what information it's pulling. Do some kernel stuff, pulling some variables, getting inputs. This is all just looping and stuff. Very simple stuff. Very simple stuff, but you still have to learn it if you want to get into systems world. Well, you could do system stuff without being very good at looping, but I think that the more you learn looping and scripting, the more useful you're going to be, and I think it'll help you in your career. Yeah, there goes the ones that are not able to be seen. Okay, and then now they're back. Okay, but 2 is down because again 2 was chopped up. Oh, 2, 3 back. How are they changing that fast? This thing should not be changing that fast. Oh, maybe I'm reading it as it was being written. Okay, that's fair enough, I guess. All right. We're losing our minds, but not in the worst way. Containerization. So you can put Podman on there. Make sure Podman. I might have put Podman on the boxes. So let's install Podman. These are all done. Right? So Podman's going to be on the image for Lab 9. Yep. Shoot. Lab 9. Podman. See if anything else needs to be there. Podman. Alright. The lab's tar.gz is still there, so that lab environment is there if you guys need it. But I know I have to recreate some of the other ones, especially in the security side of things. People got in there and I had left them in read-write and people deleted stuff and it was my own fault. And so I get for setting up a lab and not having backups of everything. So this time I'm going to have them all backed up. So in case, even if somebody destructively gets it, they won't really destroy anything because I'll just copy it back in, you know. But there are some files over on the security side of things that I got to rebuild, which is pretty straightforward as far as that goes. It's just a little work. And in general, that's all this stuff ever is, just a little bit of work. All right, where am I at here? All right. See if he's back up. Should be pretty quick when there's only one of them. All right, he's back up. Good. So all those are up. I need to reboot Rocky 1, but we'll maybe make like Sunday night, like a maintenance night, and then I'll just say, hey, labs reset on Monday night or Sunday nights or something, and then that'll give me maintenance time because we do have a fair amount of people using the labs, but maybe not so many. All right, K3s I make you guys install yourself, so I don't need to install that. Systems, DL, all this stuff is with K3s. K3s, that's all good. One of the K3's problems, that's fine. Okay, so we don't have to install anything for K3s. Let's go look at the Unit 11 lab. Grafana is all done out on the Killer Coda site, so there's nothing here. 12 is all done. Make their lab baseline. Okay, Systat should already be on the system, so you don't have to do in there. Yeah, Philinix. Yeah, if you're over in the Discord and you go drop down into the ProLUG Lab environment, and then you give me, like in this case, somebody gave me their key. I can take this key. This is a public key. Public keys can be known by the world, so it's not like you're putting anything out there. I'm going to eventually automate this, but for now, I'm going to go drop that into home prolug.sh. Right. And then the user is still ProLUG, whoever you are, but that person now has their key as part of the ability. They can just go right to prolug.asuscom.com. It's prolug at prolug.asuscom.com, yeah. And then they can get in directly. Yep. Yeah, so Philinix, the thing about it is it's the labs are for these courses, but I mean people could technically do whatever they want in there as long as it's not illegal. Stress, so you would install Stress if you needed to, baseline gathering and some benchmarking and testing, and develop a test plan and all these things. You don't need anything special on the server, so I would call lab 12 good. Lab 13, let's see if there's anything I need to install. Nope, all those tools are there. SCC, oh, that's funny. I didn't realize people had put, oh, the OC, yeah, the Stig scanner tool, so you could do that over there. And then that's there, okay. And then lab 14 has, so there's going to be, this host file is a little different now because there's only one of those servers up anymore. So let's go see which of those servers is up. I think only 101 is up. Ping 192.168.200.101. Yeah, 101's the only one of those that's up, so that's actually something for people to play with then. Yeah, Philinix, yeah, anybody that's on Discord pretty much can drop me a key. We just started the key process, and I'm going to automate that. But for now, we got it as it is. And then I'll basically back it up and add new keys. And if people ever give me bad keys, we'll just remove them. But for now, this is how we're going to get them. And then also there's a password that goes with it, but mostly just my testers got the password. Keys are probably easiest for everybody and most secure. Okay, so we're going to call 14 good, even though only one of those will work. That's fine. I mean, no lab for 15, that's true. And I think 16 was also a very short lab. So this was the T-shoot nodes. We're going to have to update how this last lab works. We might... I'm going to put in there fixed lab 16. Because I can deploy it as part of the... There's a few ways I can do it, but none of them are super tenable. Let's go to Rocky... We don't want Rocky 5. We want to bang exec. Go in here. Podman? Let's get Podman on here real quick. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I'm not rebooting them anymore, Deathwish. I'm going to leave everything as is, and I'm just going to make it like a standard that I can do things on Sunday night with a reboot. But other than that, I'm going to leave them up for you guys now. In fact, I'm going to put Podman on this image, and then I'm not even going to bother putting it on the other ones. So... because I have a better method of making sure that nobody else gets in each other's nodes. Unless you guys jump in within the same minute, that shouldn't happen anymore. True exit, rebuild, and then we don't have to reboot yet. So Podman's part of the image. And I got to fix the lab, how to deploy T-shoot, probably split the decisions in... Probably split the decisions in Bastion, and then probably all the Maybe just run all the problems in one node. I could actually make you guys. I don't want to do. I don't want to do like trigger and then reboot the node to the other image and have you guys wait. I don't think that's a great option for just one lab. If we were doing multiple labs like that, maybe, but just for like a one-off for just 1 week, nah, we probably won't do that. All right. So we've done all those things. Lab 16 is the last little thing to fix, kind of in that regard. I've got to do the same thing for the hammer nodes, but I want to show you guys something that's, well, actually I probably should have already split this. That's fine. So now www.ctl image list, right? We've just got this one image, but www.ctl image copy Rocky Linux 9 to, let's call it hammer Linux 9, and it'll copy it over, and now we'll have a new image to use for the hammer boxes separately, and then the hammer boxes are going to have other things with them. So see how the hammer boxes are still pointed at the other image? So I'm going to do a, so like set the hammer nodes here to image equal to hammer Linux 9, right? And then now if I look at that one, the image name for them is hammer Linux 9, right? I need to do a www.ctl overlay build because that'll rebuild the overlays for them. And then what I need to do is go in and fix this thing. This is the first thing we'll fix with the hammer boxes. Where'd that go? Is it this? We need, which of these did we want? Let's look at these and see which one of these we like. This one's probably too wide. I do like blocks, but that's probably too wide for most people's terminals. So we're going to use one that's a little more subdued. Let's go find hammer, because I want people to know which nodes they're logging into. Doom is a good chance. That's a good chance, but let's see what some of these other ones look like. We're just kind of looking for hammer. That might be okay. Ogre. I think Ogre is good for this one. Let's select and copy for now. Rectangles isn't terrible. None of these are bad. Some are better than others. I like standard, and I like Star Wars. That one actually doesn't look bad for this either. But let's go with these ones. I don't want to use because I don't know if they're going to be on a light or dark terminal, right? I don't know what their terminal is going to look like. These are getting too weird. Those, I'm not a big fan of the banners like that. I know some people like that, but that's not my style. I don't mind that chunky one either. That doesn't look terrible in the big scheme of things. But let's go with, let's keep what we got. So let's go now. We're going to exec into hammer Linux 9. There's the message of the day there. And let's change it to this one. Better. What do you think? Do they have the dot matrix? They might. There's a dot matrix one right there. Jinglepod, there it is right there. There's a dot matrix one. You want that one? I think that one looks terrible too. Yeah, dude, if you guys don't know, man, this guy's got all kinds of stuff. He's got the goods for you guys as far as, oh, there's probably, but that one's called dot matrix, which I think is funny. There's probably some kind of dot matrix something. Look at all this. He has so much of this. I want to say it's like a few hundred. I mean, some of these could have come out of an old printer. This one might have. Marquee. Yeah, some of this is just a mess. But I think, I mean, for just having a nice little thing at the top of your server, I think that's fine. So we're gonna go to Hammer. Yep. Hammer 5 and reboot Hammer 5. Which most of the time we would never get people in because people would have to be pretty backed up on our servers to need to go that far over. Come on, system. Build it up. Alright, I'm gonna go grab a drink real quick while that thing's building. My water bottles. Longest image build I've ever seen. Come on, werewolf server. You're embarrassing me in front of my friends. I'm kidding. Yeah, Shane, yeah. Chapter 16 was down. So I blew this all away the other day. Some of you guys remember I blew it away. SH to Hammer 5. Ping Hammer 5. Over here. Bang watch. Oh, if somebody's in Rocky 2, then that's weird that that's not... Man, this thing is definitely not doing what I expect it to. Cron is definitely running. No configuration for root. I don't even know what ESMT PRC means. Hell is that? Cron's got a cron tab. It should run every minute of every day. This thing should run, and it should regenerate this file, taking away stuff like systems that people are in. Oh, Deathwish, you're out. Okay. Well, then that makes sense that that's back. But that's fine. That's actually good to know. I'm glad you got in there too. So we're testing Hammer 5. Make sure he comes up. He's stateless node. So he's going to come up with the new Hammer Linux -9. It's Rocky Linux, but we're just calling him Hammer. And we'll get him with the new image. We'll get him with the only thing different about this image will be the message of the day. We could do that with an overlay. We wouldn't have to change the image every time. Nick Hill said, should I get a cloud certificate? AWS Solutions Architect. Don't have any experience. I think AWS is great. I have 5 of the AWS certs, including Solutions Architect Pro, so I can talk to a lot of that. Nick Hill, my thoughts on AWS are not maybe as good as some of the other guys that we have. We have a few guys that work on AWS, like that's what they do. They work in the cloud and stuff. So I would advise there's a event coming up on Saturday, and the guy who's going to be talking at that event is one of our cloud guys. So he's doing interviews and stuff. So he's showing you guys how to interview and get ready. So I would definitely go ask him about it. But also my take on it is Solutions Architect Associate's a great way to start, but I would just go knock the Certified Cloud Practitioner out. It's like a little chip shot. You get a half off price for your next one. So the cloud certificate is $100, so you get that one. Then you go take the $150 cert for the Solutions Architect Associate, but it's half off, so now it's only $75. So instead of paying $150 for just the Solutions Architect, you knock out the Cloud Certified Practitioner and the Solutions Architect for only $175, and I think that's a better deal. That's at least my thoughts on it. Let's go look at this one. Boom, there he is, Hammer. We know he's one of the Hammer nodes, so there we go. There we go. This is back to the first song, by the way. Even though we're just we're playing through a playlist of streaming chill that I have, it's back to the first song again. But it's it automatically shuffles. So shuffles on and repeat is on, so it goes through everything either way. I have a whole bunch of other ones we could do too, but this is the streaming chill one I prefer. I also have a dark one that's a little scary for everybody. I'm just kidding. The music's not that bad, but music keeps us motivated. I've told you guys I'm a madman. When I'm just working, I don't actually work with music on or anything. I just work straight. I'm kind of insane. All right, so that part's done. I guess the next thing to do would be go over here and start hammering through these, because I know some of these need to be fixed. I know some of these, I had things that were not, I had things in here that I definitely changed for some of the stuff. Yeah, I'm going to call you Phi Linux. So I'm just going to call you Linux, actually. It's easier. Yeah, the music's a little bit, but I mean, when I work as an engineer, much like when I was younger, I was a big runner. I didn't need anything. I could just go do it, and I'm kind of insane like that. Some people can't do that. They, it affects them too much or whatever, bugs them. But for me, I like the silence. All right, so we got the hammer boxes back up, but really it's only going to be the one hammer box for now. We could do. We can walk through them all. We'll just do them slow. We'll do those ones, and then we will come over here. I'll actually show you guys what we can do. Is we can go Ansible, and we can change Rocky right here to hammer, and we can take away the limit, right? And we take away the uptime, and we can just do cat etc motd, and you guys will see which nodes are. We'll give it like a sleep 240. That's 4 minutes. So we'll give it 4 minutes to come back up. Those two nodes that we kicked over. So I would expect 1 and 2 to have no message of the day set really, and then 3, 4, and 5 to have the message of the day set. That's the behavior I expect. And now we just sit and wait and do other things, or sit around and chew the fat or whatever. Nick Hill, the other thing I would tell you, especially if you're looking for, I mean, you said how's the job market for DevOps? I think DevOps is growing. I think systems engineering is growing. I think all the high tech stuff are growing. People are constantly scared about these AIs and these other things, and I think you guys just saw the AI give me the exact opposite of what I wanted. So that wasn't going to be able to do anything for an actual person. Like, somebody had to interpret that and still put it down in the system correctly. So yeah, Runamucker, I'm not super sold on it either. I mean, I think it's doing awesome things, and I think I told you guys, like, I was doing some stuff a while back, even just in my VS Code. I've never signed up for anything in VS Code, and I was writing some stuff down in, where was I at? I was in one of these, and I was down in here building something out, and it was like writing the Ansible playbook for me, and I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of cool, but I didn't ask you to do any of that, but you're still doing it for me. I don't even know where that was. Anyways, it was somewhere, but it was like, it was just writing it all for me, and I'm like, I didn't ask you to do that, but you are, and that's going somewhere and doing something. I don't know exactly where, but I know that this right here is all being offloaded by AI. My CC, my closed captioning, that's all being done up in Azure Cloud somewhere. And I found out just today, because I changed my account, that it's probably being done through my college. And it's like, well, you guys shouldn't just put that stuff out there if you don't want me to use it, because I'm going to use it however I want, right? Like, I mean, it probably shouldn't have been just out there for anybody to access if you didn't want me to. But I'm sure it's pennies on the dollar, so they probably don't. It's probably a rounding error to training professors. All right, let's go look through here. Is there anything special in here? LS mod, all these things are basic. Install MariaDB server. Go look at your stigs. That's important. Nothing special here. Okay, so lab 1 I'm going to call good. Let's go look at lab 2. Yeah, it's a pretty good little CC. And actually, one of the things that's kind of cool, they asked me a few months ago in YouTube. They were like, hey, there's this program. It's going to be free for you, but we're gonna opt you in it if you don't say anything. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I will. But what it was they said, hey, we will automatically take your voice and translate your voice into like 10 other languages, 10 like of the most common languages. And they're like, it's gonna be a free service. We're doing it for our partners because I'm a YouTube partner. And they're like, yeah, do that. And then if you want, we'll translate your language into like German and Japanese and all these other ones, but it'll be in your voice. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I said, yeah, go ahead and do it. So they're doing that apparently, and I think they're starting to do it on my older videos too. They were doing it on all newer videos as they got uploaded, but my understanding is they're starting to do it on older videos too. And the reason I think that's kind of cool is my closed captioning down there is still going to be in English. So if somebody is like, let's just use Chinese as an example, and they're trying to learn English as well, they can listen to it in Chinese, but it's going to be my closed captioning still in English, which I think is kind of a cool little thing, because you know then it's almost like you're watching a subtitled show. You know, look, guys, trust me, I watch enough anime to know about the angst and anger between the subtitle and dubbed crews. Trust me, I've seen enough of that argument on the fucking interweb over the days, over the years and stuff. Anyways, there's the hammers are back up, so then we can go on this one. Oops, we can just go reboot hammer 2. Oops, and hammer 1, just for fun. And then we just wait. We'll give this one 300 seconds, right? Because it's gonna take a little bit. Agalord, you did it? You got it working? Nice, nice, nice. I think that's awesome. If you got that working, especially, I mean, if you don't mind writing up what kind of worked for you, I think that would be awesome. Especially like the troubleshooting you did, because one, it'll be good for you to reference it if you ever need to. And two, if anybody else ever says, hey, I've got this very specific type of VLAN thing that I need, I'll be like, oh, well, I don't know anything about it, but I know this guy does. And then you'll just start being like, why is Scott tagging me and everything on Discord? And it's because I'm tagging you when people ask about shit. So it's been keeping me listening during the ads as well. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, the CC is pretty good, I think. I think, and we actually changed it to other languages because it can take my voice and do CC in other languages too. And we changed it to like Philippines. We had somebody in here that was Filipino and didn't mind telling us how good they thought it was, and they were like, no, that's exactly what you're saying. And we've switched it to Finnish. I know because we had somebody in here one time, and then I think we did German once too. I don't remember all the languages we've switched that into, but just playing around with it, it'll work in other languages too. Agalord, yeah, you got it working VPN with the traffic routes and the firewall rules that weren't let the VLAN traffic out. Nice. Yeah, as long as you got it working, man, that's the most important thing. And it always feels good to get something like that to work, and then there's kind of like a down, you know, kind of get a little bit of a euphoria, and then I try to write things down before I forget about them then. Yeah. It's good. Good practice. Yeah, no rush. Whenever you get around to it. Let's go look at this one. Does this one have anything special? There's FIPS mode. We don't have FIPS mode on, but I do need to make sure that I have SE Linux working on these boxes. So that's going to be something I check here in a second. SE status. Oh, and actually SE Linux is on in the other server, so I'm going to have to do it on the other one as well. Firewall, messing with firewall a little bit, making sure some things are available. There is a download. Okay, so the download is off the internet, so you don't need me to do that. Although I know that constantly gets updated. The RHEL 9 version 2 R4 like these always get updated, and you can never tell if they're going to be the same. They do breaking changes all the time in their downloads. It's super annoying. I actually probably should just check if that wget works real quick while we're sitting here. Oh, not Rocky 3, Hammer 3. All right, let's try the wget. They do breaking changes all the effing time. No, they got it. Okay, there's our stuff. Perfect. That'll get wiped next time I reboot the hammer boxes. Um, Still have to limit what it sees locally. Okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, Lord, that's important. Make sure it's documented so you don't have to find it out again. That's a good hallmark for you of you know, kind of maturing. You get tired of seeing all this crap break you every time. All right, and then we go check the stigs and change it. Okay, good, good. So that, I'm gonna call that one good as well. So 1, 2, 3, or sorry, 1 and 2 are good. Let's go check 3. PAMD, don't have to change any of that. That's all there. Lab, going to messing with the SSHD config. That's good. Now we get into the open LDAP. This is where I have to regenerate some of these files. The files are here, but I also had them down in this identity and access management tar. So I need to go build these up again. So let's go over here while we're waiting. Yeah, yeah. All right, so we're gonna go make these files that are in here, and then I'm gonna put them all where they need to be. So, oh, that's gonna suck. But here's the first one. So change root diff or root pass dot ldiff. Right click. Okay. But that file is going to be saved whatever the salted and hash password is. So that's going to be there. Then we're going to make this. So we're going to run this with that file. So technically you got to make this one anyways, but I'm still going to make it. And then set domain. This is going to be a standard file. This file will be the same every time, with the exception of the use the password you generated earlier. So so this is one of those that you have to modify. You literally can't just do the thing and expect the thing to work. You got to modify the password. But that's right. Okay, okay. And then set domain diff. That's going to be that. And then we're going to make all these. And then we're going to add OU, and the OU is correct. Don't worry if you guys are like, oh, what the fuck is this guy doing? I'm rebuilding the steps from a different lab that we do as part of a different course, and I am adding in things that are not. We go over it in the course. So like if you're looking at it going, oh my gosh, there's no way. Don't worry about what we're doing with these. These are, I'm just making these for right now. All right, then we're gonna make our TLS stuff. vi tls.diff, ldiff. Boom. Okay. And then we're gonna open up our LDAP certs, and I believe, oh, we would go make those. So you do got to go make your certs. You got to go do all that stuff. So those commands are there. That's going to tell you where to point, but that is correct. And then open LDAP, and you're just going to change those things so those files don't need to be added into here. All right, so I'm going to go up a directory, and for this to work, we're going to do a tar-czvf on identity and access management.tar.gz, and identity and access management is the target of what we're trying to save down. So now there's our file, and that file matches what's said to be there at the top of the lab, in case anybody wanted to be lazy and didn't want to make all those files. So this, again, this got blown away, so lab work now has that file. Okay, with all the correct LDIF files. So I just made them all from the lab to save everybody the trouble of having to go and do that. So if you're like, what the hell was all that? I was recreating a lab very quickly without like really the explanation that people that did the lab got, if that makes sense. All right, Bastion hosts. I don't think I did anything. Whoops, no. Need to go to 4. I don't think I did anything special in 4 because it was Bastion stuff. So you had to go build a chroot jail out on killer coda. So that's killer coda stuff, and then building that. Okay, so that's there. I didn't download this again and put this in the lab. So repos and patching still has the Rocky 9.5 DVD ISO, so that's there, yes. So boom, that'll work for everybody. App stream, do all the work, make your local repos, everybody's happy. And then that. Okay, so 5's good-ish. 6, if I need to fix it, I can fix some stuff later. Forwarding and collecting logs, and then doing it in a protected way, and then doing Loki to gather logs, send data. Okay, so there's nothing I really have to fix here. That's all correct. Okay. And then Lab 7. Lab 7 is doing the monitoring the jails that you build and then using fail to ban. So monitoring jails. This is actually something I do in the home lab with this. So any jail user that fails or gets kicked out, it's that. And Yadav over on the YouTube side, how's it going? We're just building the labs back up. And I'm making sure that the labs are good for the environments that I have for you guys. Apt install Aid. If you guys have never used Aid, there's some really cool stuff that Aid can do. So boom, Aid gives you that all in the lab. And then there's a playbook in modify. So you do that lab and then you use the root web environment. Okay, and then you change things back. So that's all about the configuration management and setting things back. And then certificate and key management. This is all out in the web. So this is all web stuff. So that's good. And then 10, I don't think 10 had a lab. Just putty or connection, and then Stig viewer, and then. Did I never do 10 and then just tell everybody that I was going to owe them? I might have done that, guys. I might have to. We definitely did. Oh, it was just recap and final project. No, so there was no major thing in 10 as far as that goes. But I think the people that did the lab and did the project for 10 probably found that there was a lot of work to do still. So, okay. I'm going to call that environment pretty clean. Let's go look at this. They're all back to Hammer. So all the Hammer servers are back hammering, right? So we've got the lab environment for people that need access. All you got to do is drop a key in there in the ProLUG Lab environment. And I'll get the key sucked up in there. And then this is how you get access to either the Rocky or the Werewolf node. They're all Werewolf nodes, but either Rocky or Hammer systems, right? All right. Let's see if we got anything good. This is our Twitch, YouTube. You guys know you can do !question. It'll send questions into Discord for us, and people will try to answer those questions for you. You can also do !Discord, at least on the Twitch side, and it'll give you the Discord link, and then you guys over on YouTube, you have the Discord link down in the description, so you can always do that as well. So. Let's see. Do I got anything else? No, I think the lab is pretty well set up now. Yeah, I got a lot of stuff to do. Lots and lots of stuff to do. We can get rid of the NIST standard for now. Let's say the lab is limping along. I can confidently now tell people to go to the course, get in the Discord, and they can run through it now if they wanted to. So if like somebody was like, hey, I got time this week to just run through the Linux courses or the security course, I now am much more confident that I've got the lab back up. I had it limping along for like the last 2 weeks, guys. It was not good. And it was my own fault because, again, I updated Werewolf out of the blue. I just did it without any planning. That's not something I'm ever going to do in the future. That's not something I would have ever done professionally. I was just literally fucking around in the lab with like a bunch of us down in the Discord, and I crushed the whole thing. So rebuild took me a little while. I'd say honest like rebuild time, like focus, was probably about 8 hours, but that's not bad to get kind of the setup we have and the ability to get into the system. I do have monitoring stuff I still need to build, so we do really need to like probably have a focus week where we just do monitoring and I just build out and actually that is another one of those things I kind of want to give some of you guys access to, where maybe we can get you in there building dashboards and looking at what kind of stuff you want to be able to do. Deathwish, you got in the hammer as well? Awesome. Yeah, good. That's good. So you could technically do, guys, these books that I was showing, these are online. These are free. These labs, and I know Deathwish already knows that, but I'm saying for everybody else, the labs that we ran and the courses that we run inside of our Discord are completely free for you guys. Don't charge you anything. Don't charge you for my time. It's us hanging out. It makes me better working through this stuff with you guys. Makes me better, and then it also hopefully gets you guys into working in the field, right? Because you can do these 16 things here and be able to do that for a company, and that's hopefully something that can, help you find a job. So yeah, that's what we do. All right, wife said she's coming home, so I got to get off of here soon. Yeah, Linux, the goal here is to, I tell people all the time, the goal here is to get more people doing this. I hope to get knocked off of my top position doing Linux one day so that I can just go retire. It's not that bad. I got some time before I retire. But no, I really want to see other people do this. I'm convinced you guys can do this. This is one of the last, I really do think this is one of the last bastions of, like, you don't need a degree to do this stuff. Right? I mean, I have a bunch of degrees. We could talk about that stuff. I'm working on my doctorate, but that's not what got me into the industry. What got me into the industry was working on Linux, just doing Linux. And then people were like, hey, we need a Linux guy over here. You want to do it? And I was like, are you going to pay me? I can do that for money, right? Where's that at? Hold on. Do I have that? Right here. I can answer that. For money. Right? That was me. And then people were like, yeah, we'll pay you money to do Linux. And I was like, yes, we will exchange money for goods and services. Which is an old Simpsons joke where Homer gets money instead of like a donut or whatever he wants. And he's like, aw. And his brain goes, but money is good. And he goes, explain. He says, money can be exchanged for goods and services. You can buy many donuts. And he's like, woohoo. Or whatever. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was donuts or something. But yeah. So Phi Linux, what we're doing here, is getting you guys into doing this stuff professionally. Every now and then, we get another person that gets their first job, and then that's awesome. But a lot of times we just, we just had this last weekend, we had a huge meetup where we had a bunch of different speakers. It's our annual conference, and we had, 9 different speakers come in. 8 of them were not me. And I tell you guys all the time, this is not supposed to be the Scott Show. It's supposed to be for all of us. So, yeah, FI Linux, the goal of this is to get you guys into doing it professionally. For people that already know how to do it and just you feel comfortable at the command line, these are the things that I think, these are the things here that I think the average person that can do some Linux already needs to start doing to get ready to do it professionally. So that's what our course is on, is Linux Systems Administration. And it's getting into the industry. Oh, and I didn't even show you this, but if you go through the book and you're like, oh, I don't have your access, I recorded all of these. So if you went, you could watch me.
What makes someone's work
a
work of art?
Don't worry about that. But you could watch me actually do the discussions and walking through, because not included in the book are my slides, and my slides are about the things that we did and that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is the goal of this is to kind of pull it together for people that are doing Linux, but just not doing it professionally yet. So yeah. So yeah, Phi Linux, I would tell you this is the next best thing to having us. The best thing, honestly, the best thing is getting down in Discord and talking with people that are doing this. Like I'm not the only one doing Linux in the group. There's a lot of people doing Linux, and I would tell you, get in there, do that, hang out with them, go hang out in like a Saturday session with Bash if you can, even if it's one of the night ones, and then watch those videos that are on here, because there's a bunch of videos on here for all these different things that you can go learn about and do. And Really, it's just kind of this for somebody that's already doing Linux is more about aligning you to the business, showing you how this stuff works with a company, right? Because like companies want you for a very specific reason. It's to keep their servers working, and if you're an engineer, they want you for a very specific reason, which is to know things and fix stuff, know things about what to deploy and how to deploy it and how to do it in a repeatable fashion correctly with no errors. And then another thing. Oh, the wife's texting me. She's on her way home. Okay, good. I got to get off of here soon. But yeah, so that's kind of my thing. Like I show you guys a lot of the operational stuff. And then if you do the security engineering course, what I say about that one, this is still really good for the beginner in Linux, but we don't treat this one as a beginner course. There's not going to be any like in this course, I didn't assume that somebody wouldn't know how to get in the system or wouldn't know how to like CD or PWD or LS. Like this one was much more of like a we're running, we're going along and getting through it. But this one showed people a lot of like, I don't know, there was a lot of like hardening. Like we built a server, we secured the network, we added users, we bashed it off, and I showed you guys how to build jails and all that kind of stuff. And then we did system patching and monitoring and alerting, and I'm just reading down the list. And then we did a bunch of configuration drift and remediation, fixing things back to a certain way, and then we did all the certificate and key madness. So there was a lot of stuff in the security one that I think showed people about, like, because, man, everybody thinks they want to go be, like, on a security team, but it's like I tell people, man, I know a lot of people that have fucking quit doing like because security audit teams or like just GRC just like killed them. They didn't want to do any of that stuff. I do have a BSD system on my environment, but I don't really use it much. I might have deleted it. Hold on. Pretty sure I have BSD out there somewhere. Yeah, somebody had me put BSD on here, so I do have a BSD system in the environment. But yeah, I mean, aside from just being on here messing with it 62 days ago when we first turned it on, I don't use BSD professionally in any kind of way. Like, I couldn't tell you anything. I don't even know the installer. I would have to almost completely read. Yeah, well, yeah, so jailing, there's a few different ways jailing works. But yeah, I do think the standard of, like, how jails are created is probably from an original BSD project. I jail users via chroot. So I do chroot jails. There are other types of jails that you can use, but yeah, BSD was known for its jailing. Absolutely. I learned how to jail stuff from working on a NOAA project, which I have actually, funny enough, am back on that project, and I'm just kind of working through it as it kind of gets into its later years, and then a new one's coming in. But yeah, so I do. Yeah, so this whole process, all these things that you guys saw me working on are the back end of a jail. So for people that come into our environment, they come in here. Actually, I'll just do this as well, I don't have to do it as a presentation because I have it over here. But if you guys go to, if you're down in our ProLUG Lab environment, and this is the Bastion environment, so people come from the internet and hit ProLUG at prolug.asuscom.com. They jump through a home router in some way, right? And then they get to my P01 Jump 02 box. And provided that they pass through the jail correctly, they jump into either the Hammer servers, one, if they're security course people, or they go into the Rocky servers, Rocky 1 through 5, if they're admin people. The jailing process is pretty simple. We have a var prolug _ chroot jail. In that jail, I have only 3 commands: bash, curl, and SSH. Those are the only commands people can run. I have all the libraries for those down there. Excuse me. All the libraries for bash, curl, and SSH are in there. But you're locked into a shell. Your shell has been bastion.sh, and that's that little bastion that I run. You guys saw me. It gets created every minute. And it gets created only with the live ones that are actually being, where's he at? Right here. These I'm watching it right now every 2 seconds, and Ansible is going out and finding which ones are active. So somebody's still in Rocky 1 because Rocky 1's not showing up, but 2, 3, 4, and 5 are going to be the next one. So the next person that logs in is going to go in Rocky 2, and if somebody were to go to the security engineering course, they would go to Hammer. So this is the messages that you get, and if there's no capacity, there's no capacity. That is what it is. Whoops, and then when you're done getting sent, you go to either the Rocky servers or the security Hammer servers here, lab capacity on the back end. And that lab capacity is this physically over here. These are all virtual machines inside of an environment. They boot up, they're stateless. Werewolf configures them to be stateless and to come up and all that kind of stuff. Agalord said, I need to catch up a lot of my basic Linux. I use CLI every day professionally. There are a lot of gaps in my basic knowledge. Got to traverse the course to shore up those gaps. Yeah, Agalord, that's one thing I would do, and the other thing I would do is just go play around in Killer Coda. There is so much stuff in Killer Coda. Not even my stuff. I have 70-something labs, and some of the other guys have labs too, but man, there is so much other stuff. Like, you might just say, hey, I want to do like some Kubernetes today, or maybe I'm going to do Kubernetes for 15 minutes every morning while I drink my coffee. I don't know. There's a lot of there's literally hundreds of hours of Kubernetes stuff those guys have out there. So there's a lot of stuff for you to work on if you really wanted to. There's I mean, you could get, I worked through my whole CKA and CKAD on Killer Coda when I was getting mine. So I kind of see a lot of value in that. Even though I don't really do anything with my CKA or my CKAD in the industry, I run it locally in the home lab, right? We have Kubernetes running. I don't have it. It's not in any of this stuff. My Kubernetes is over in. It runs a few things, but one of the main things that's visible is ProLUG.org, is run through that. And one of our other guys built that in Go for me. So, excuse me. All right, guys, I gotta go. Wife's coming home. Let's see if we can raid anybody on the Twitch side of things. See if anybody that I'm following is on. Sid is on. We can go raid Sid. Let's go raid Sid. I appreciate you guys all coming back. We're gonna start a raid over there, and we always do the message, do all the Linux. So if you guys want to do that raid message, do it. Otherwise, I will see some of you guys later on this week, probably tomorrow night, but for sure all through the weekend because the wife's out of town. So I will see you guys. Take care.